Welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and I'm very glad you're joining us again today. Today we are still up in the beautiful Canadian Rockies in the I.D.E.A.L community, and we are seated again with Natacha Kolesar, who is the director of this wonderful, wonderful community that we spoke of last week and are continuing this week to go into further depth, this time to pick up where we left off last week, on the subject of music, and you could call it an esoteric, an inner understanding of the nature of music as it is in this community and as it is in the world at large. And joining us will be the musical director of I.D.E.A.L, Gilles Hainault, who is very involved in writing music, in conducting it here, and is the conductor of the Vera Choir. The music is incredible, and you will have a chance to experience it again, but this time avec explication, that is, with explanation. They've made me work on my French here because the entire community is conducted in French, and they very kindly speak some English to me, which I greatly appreciate. First of all, I just want to say for all of you along the eastern seaboard, I'm glad you made it through. You weathered the hurricane very beautifully, and I'm very glad to hear that my brothers and sisters in New York and along the eastern seaboard are generally safe and sound, and I heard even that the sun came out yesterday, so this is all good. This is all a real blessing. So I'm glad that that's all happening. Of course, I'm also glad that I'm here in the magnificent Canadian Rockies, but believe me, we've been tuned in and sending prayers toward the eastern seaboard for you all from here. So I just wanted to share that with you. And also to let you know that you can always come to our website, www.abetterworld.net, and become part of the newsletter, become part of the A Better World community. We're on every Monday on PRN at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and on television every Tuesday night at 10:30 EST, also on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, aired live, right on television, or online from our website at betterworld.net. So come join us, become part of it. We have a lot of good fun. We talk about very inspiring, very useful information about how to live a better life and how to be a participant in creating a better world. After all, we all know that we are in service to this idea in our own respective ways. It doesn't matter how it shows up, it just matters that it shows up. So that is really very much the reason that I am up here at the I.D.E.A.L community, because it's a place where I learn a lot about being in service, where I learn a lot about how to relate to the higher spheres and to understanding, among other things, music, which will be really the focus of today's show. We all have our own individual relationships to music, and this is just part of our soul's activity. It's part of our fun. Our body wants to move to music. This is the way it is. And there's a whole other really interesting level of music that we're going to be speaking about today, where it enriches, truly acts as nourishment of the soul and our higher levels of being. And here at I.D.E.A.L, this is something that they really specialize in. And music is really a big part of their spiritual discipline. As many different communities sit on a cushion and meditate and follow their breath, here they're sitting on chairs, ass standing, and singing. And the power of it becomes evident to anyone who spends any time here. And it keeps drawing me back. So I'm very glad that I have these two lovely people on the show with us today, Natacha and Gilles, to speak about the nature of the soul and music. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So what is it, how would you say, Natacha, from the beginning, what music is to this community in particular, and then for everybody in general?
In general, if we want to speak about music, it means that the sound is the first divine matter that builds the universe. Mm-hmm. It's a building material for the universe, and we are built with the laws of music. And so
Is this why we have organs?
that's one of reasons. Yes, we have organs, but we don't know yet to play correctly on them.
Évidemment.
Yes, but we will learn. So
That means
we,
obviously.
as a physical body, as a vital, etheric body, emotional body, or mental body, they are all built by our soul with the cosmic material, which is musical. And everything what exists in nature and in the universe is built on music. So one day imagine we will just connect to that star or to that sun or to that star and we will listen to its music. So but this
Does that
is
have to do with developing a certain ability to hear in order to, say, refine ourselves to such a point where we would have that ability to tune in to its higher vibration?
Of course, today we have our physical ears, and even in the schools we have to learn how is the structure of our physical ear, but then how the sound is transported through the spaces and spaces. We can be right here and listen to a concert which is in London or Sydney. So imagine how wonderful transporters go and bring us the sound right there. So this is another study to do, how the sound is transported through the universe. For now, we don't know what is the music of the sun, our sun, that we can see every day. What is the music of the moon? What is the music of our planet? We accept it a little bit. We know today that each tree has its own music. And they can transmit this music, and we can reinforce our vital body with the music of the tree. We can communicate with that music and even hear it. So we have physical, of course, physical ears, but we have on each level a kind of pair of ears. We can listen to the emotions of somebody, and we can listen to the music of their heart. We can listen with another ears at the beauty or the ugliness of some thoughts. One are musical and the others one not.
You know, you're reminding me, you're reminding me of something I heard on National Public Radio some years ago, where they were experimenting with high-level amplification, and they were identifying the sound that came from a moving muscle.
Yes.
And there was a sound. It sounded almost like an insect, a high vibration sound, but it was just of that.
There.
And
Just
so that's just, I'm saying that as an example of the kind of thing that you're referring to, because it may sound remote to our audience, but in fact, science, you know, which of course is the religion of our times, is able to and is on the path of identifying sounds from everything, even our ability to go underwater and identify the communications of dolphins and whales. And these are very high frequency forms of music, actually. And we've also been able to decipher a lot of the meaning in those communications. So what you're saying really is, of course, it's ahead of its time, as usual, Natacha, but nonetheless, it's ancient wisdom that you're calling upon, also as usual, and I think more and more people are going to be able to hear this kind of idea.
Yes, hopefully, because time is for that. Our
Yes,
time will
this is the
bring
time.
incredible new perception of all these things that exist forever.
Exactly.
And even physically, with our physical ears, if we stop for a moment, we can hear the wind, we can hear the water. And for now, we cannot maybe hear the music of the sapphire, of the ruby, of the diamond, but they have all their precise and very beautiful music. Of course,
So interesting.
even the normal stones, there is a very slow musical movement, but there is. And even the stones can transmit us wonderful messages. For example, if we go to a canyon, in a canyon, there is a history written on the stones, on their
Yes.
formations, and each form transmits a special music. And now,
Also, I imagine, very
And now-
deep
so
sound.
we will develop the kind of clairaudience
Yes.
in the future on each level. It will be more and more clear and more audible. But for now, if we go to a doctor, for example, the doctor will say, oh, in your lungs there are some noises. In your heart there is no real rhythm. Or doesn't matter which organ.
Right.
So we hear that, but we don't realize that we emit
Sounds.
behind the principal tone of each person, we emit through our organs, even through each cell, we emit a music. So if we are totally healthy, of course the music is wonderful. But if there is something, some parts painful, so imagine the doctor can realize that there are some noises.
Yes.
So it's not
In
so
other
musical.
words, we're right. What you're also saying here, Natacha, is that we have been using sound diagnostically for forever.
Of course.
We listen, we hear and feel rhythms, and if they're out, we know there's a problem. If there are abnormal sounds in the body, we know something is off.
And if we see the past, if we see how humanity was educated, so the music touches directly our consciousness. And for some epochs, for some yugas, there was a special precise music to develop more our mental level, or to develop more our emotional level, or our vital level. And music was always as a nourishment. But we have recognized on each level we receive it, where we need it more, and how we can use this. So in initiatic schools of the past, there was always music. Even today we have some rest of it. For example, the dances in the Sufi schools, initiatic schools. We have instruments, of course, but the best instrument is human being himself.
Exactly.
Or our voice is the best instrument.
Kirtan
Yes.
is the basis. The bhajans are always celebrating God in one form or another, and singing from the heart to, also align the chakras.
Yes.
And I read in your music book today a most beautiful quote as I was looking at the music. And it was basically talking about, in fact, Gilles, I would love for you to speak to this if you would, as the musical director and conductor here, that when one sings, one should sing with one's entire being, one's heart, one's soul, and the fruit of that singing is essentially unparalleled. Could you speak to that idea that shows up here clearly in the Vera Choir and among your
Well,
members
this,
of your
this
group?
is a quote from a great master of sound, and this master of sound and melody his name was Peter Dunov. He was born in Bulgaria, and he lived from 1864 to 1944.
And he was educated as an MD at Harvard,
Yes, exactly.
interestingly.
when he came back, but he learned violin also. So he was basically a violinist. And he wrote melodies, and on these melodies he put words. Some words were written by the disciples, but most of his music, he composed the melody and put the words to it. And afterwards, these songs were harmonized, and they're sung by choirs, 4-part, 6-part choirs, depending on which song. And it gets us into the notion of, since we're talking about the human voice, I would like to have much more time and talk about organic music. And when you buy an organic fruit or organic vegetable, you get the flavor of it, and you have the feeling that the sun fed it completely. And it was taken ripe from the tree or from the soil. And when you get it on the table, and when you start chewing it, you feel the fullness, the color, the flavors. Everything comes out as it is an obvious wonder of nature. That's organic food.
No.
Right?
So too. How does that show up in music?
Well, that's where I'd open the door to organic music. How could you define organic music? There are many levels of organic music, but I could say that
What do you mean by
what
that?
is organic is what comes from the soul, the feelings, the will, and the know-how of a performer. Things become organic. Now, how do you combine all those different forces and bring out a sound that is organic? And when a sound is organic, the listener already, right away, he's awakened, and he starts chewing and savoring what he's hearing, and he is well fed.
Would
Now-
another way of putting it, Gilles, be... By the way, it's a pleasure to have you on the radio show.
Thank you.
after
It's a
all
pleasure
these years.
to be with you
So glad to have
for
you.
this short time.
Good. It sounds like to me that you're referring to some idea of authenticity, that there is a core genuineness in the singer, and that energy field that's of that depth is getting communicated through the voice physically into, call it the etheric.
So there are many dimensions that there's a know-how.
Would that touch
There's
upon what you're referring
there's a
to?
technical know-how. This becomes an instrument. A good technician, as a
Yes.
singer or as an instrumentalist, becomes a channel from which comes cosmic sounds that are channeled through an individual. The individual just carries the message, and he is inspired. We'll put it that way. A genius composes a wonderful symphony. He is inspired. He's just a channel. He just transmits the thing. But for it to be organic, we have laws that we have to respect, right? When the sun feeds the pear on the tree, the sun knows, and Mother Earth knows about the laws. I mean, it's just done for us automatically, but nothing is automatic. Everything has been calculated by the cosmic intelligence to make it a pear. So I would say that an organic sound has all the elements required by nature and by the laws of nature to render it completely nourishing.
Completely sound.
Completely sound for the ear,
Yes.
for the soul, for the thought, for the feelings, and for the body. And that's where you find healing sounds. Now, there are about 3 million books that have been written on music. And I think that there are a lot of ideas out there, especially nowadays. But I still feel that the real experience is when you do it yourself, and not that you read about it.
So the experience of music can occur at least in two main ways. One, through the making of it, or being the conductor of it. I don't mean the conductor like this, I mean the conductor of your body
Yes,
voicing it. And the other is by listening.
yes.
Because I'll tell you that Natacha, you speak of the nervous system as being our antennae to the cosmos. You speak of that very beautifully, and I agree with you completely. I feel like an antenna, and when I'm receiving the music here, and any really quality music, my body becomes alive in a way that it wasn't prior to listening. So it's my measuring stick, so to speak, of quality, in this case music.
Well, you're talking about your solar plexus, because the solar plexus is the
Yes.
antenna
Mhm.
that is fed. It's like
Yes.
a bowl, and we put in this bowl nourishment, and then you distribute it to different parts of your own being.
Exactly.
But it has to be very good organic sound.
Exactly. Could you speak, Natacha, to the idea of the chakras being nourished? Of course, Gilles, you're hitting upon that by referring to the solar plexus. But indeed, I imagine that all the chakras would be getting nourished, and that would also be related to the sound of being deep and more bass, all the way up the scale to the highest notes. And it would also involve, and if you would speak to this, the male, the masculine, and the female, feminine principles.
So, as it was mentioned, it's true that organic music comes from the soul. And as we mentioned last time, that we cannot speak anymore about a real education if we don't put as a base the soul. Because the soul is planning, projecting, programming everything for whole life, for many lives. And the builder, the keeper of divine power in the universe is the cosmic soul. And we have a drop in us, so that's why we are all musicians in reality. But we didn't realize yet. So the music coming from the soul will be always organic, because will be always nourishing. And in some epochs, there was an initiate, a great master, that the cosmic intelligence sent to the earth, transmit and awake the consciousness, transmit the knowledge, and awake the consciousness through the music. For example, Orpheus. His work was to awake the consciousness at that and his time just through the music. And from the ancient times, it is known that our spinal column is a flute, is a cosmic flute. That's why Krishna is always presented with a flute. And the holes on that flute are chakras. But they are not really holes. They are wheels moving in an incredible speed. And in the future, these wheels will really produce unbelievably beautiful music.
In the future, that's already happening here.
No, we have to measure it. And so
my soul's been measuring it.
But what are chakras? Chakras are simply transmitters for the energies of the soul. And the music is called also as a breathing. Music is the breathing of the soul. So without music, our soul cannot breathe. Or it can breathe,
Beautiful.
but it will be not a real deep breathing, you see, as we breathe today in our civilization, just with a third of our lungs.
Shallow breathing.
Yes. So the awakening of consciousness will introduce in us this music of the soul, which is always organic. So we can consider it music also as a nourishment. If we study, for example, Indian music in India, their music is more for the mental level. They can stay 6 hours in a meditation and be nourished by the beauty of that music. Our music, Western, is more for the feelings, because we need it to feed and to nourish our feelings. But today, with some modern currents, Modern, it means human. Introductions, interferences, and that's soul's music. They are not always very happy, because instead to activate some chakras, instead to nourish our bodies, it it doesn't give a good organic food. So, but it's not the subject for today.
In fact,
and
it
maybe
creates some dissonance
Yes.
in the soul.
and in some cases even it is destructive.
Yeah.
It destroys solar plexus. For example, the music that today teenagers, they like it very much, but it disturbs and destroys their solar plexus. They cannot recognize many things during their life. They cannot see correctly and evaluate correctly, because all the precious subtle antennas were destroyed. So, but that will be the subject for another time.
Exactly. Let's let everybody know that you are listening to Mitchell J. Rabin on A Better World, and we are broadcasting today live from the beautiful Canadian Rockies in Jaffrey, British Columbia, at the I.D.E.A.L community, and we're seated with the director of the Institute for the Development of Education, Art and Leisure, Natacha Kolesar, and the musical director and conductor here of the Vera Choir, Gilles Hainault. And it's really a pleasure to speak about the role of music, which is the subject today, in their community and in our own spiritual lives, and the way we become awakened, enlivened, and nourished through this really true vital form of nourishment. We don't usually think about music as nourishment, but in fact it really is, and we're learning about the nature of that today. As food is nourishment for our organs, so, well, music is the food for all the rest of our subtle bodies. So I'd like, actually, at this point, to bring in some music that you have conducted, Gilles, and perhaps you can introduce it, and then after we listen, perhaps you both could comment on it?
If we have time, yes, with pleasure.
We will have time.
Good. The first song is Sila Jiva. This song comes from Bulgaria originally, the melody, and we put it. I put it in four voice part, mixed choir. And what's interesting in this song is its rhythm. It's a rhythm that's divided in 7 beats per measure, and it's typical of the Bulgarian folk music tradition.
Beautiful. Jazzle, if you can hit it. What's always beautiful here, if I may say, is after every piece that is sung, there is this beautiful pause in silence for everyone. You could almost feel like we are absorbing the frequencies and even the particles in the atmosphere, because you've just awakened the chi of the air, and we really can literally digest it. On that note, Gilles, could you speak to what it is we just heard? What were the meanings of the words, the content, and something of the structure?
Yeah. The element, the main element is sila, jiva. Sila is strength, force. And
In Bulgarian?
yes, in Bulgarian. And
I'll have to brush up.
And jiva is life, life. And so the force and the life are two elements that, when they are combined, they create a divine energy, and this divine energy becomes the Word.
It's like a spark, I guess.
Yes, and the Word created the universe. And in the second part, we answer to this sort of call, or the call of the Word. We answer, oh, keep on talking. Give me those two words. They are like honey. They are bliss for me. Please keep on talking. So the answer from us is matter. The matter responds to the call of the Spirit, which is Sila Jiva. Sila Jiva, the Spirit sends life and the force, and we become alive.
To awaken the matter.
We awaken our own matter, we become conscious, and we want to keep on listening to keep the link with the divine. How a simple folk song can have such a profound meaning is, to me, mind-boggling.
We begin to really matter, you could say.
And as for the structure of the music, because if we went into the laws of music, we discovered wonderful things. The 7/8 note rhythm, which is this is with, it says 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2, or 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. This is a combination of 4 and 3. The 4 is matter, it's the square, it's the cube. The 3 is the spirit. 3 is, and we have a house here. We have a roof in the form of a triangle, and we have the body of the house, which is a cube or a square. The spirit lands or rests on the square, which is matter, and awakens it. So the last 3 beats of this measure, this unit, is a stimulant to give life, to give life to matter, and then we respond to this impulse, and we dance and we sing and we're happy as a whole. This is a message to humanity. It's a call. And all the songs of the Master, the way he wrote them, have a very, very deep meaning. And paradoxically, these songs are very simple.
The Master, Pieter de Neve.
Pieter de Neve, yes. So that's an element of organic music that when we start working with it... And an example. Mm-hmm. And when we work with it, and when we realize the effect that it has on us, communicating joy and life to the listener and to the singer, we know that organic music is out there, but we have to find it. Where is it?
And it cannot be genetically modified.
No. And I just wanted to tell you that the music of today, which Natacha was talking about, the music of today, to me, as I hear it, and I hear the young people piling up 200,000 in a stadium to listen to rock music or whatever, to me it's the expression of a protest of a whole generation who cannot, since 1968 and the 1960s, cannot accept the values of our present civilization. But what happens is that...
That part is healthy.
Yes, it is healthy. The only thing is that youth does not have an alternative but to protest. But if they looked further and found an alternative to this social disorder, which is the structure of our actual society, they would replace these values. But we need to reach out and get them to understand what they are going through, because this is a form of giving birth to a new civilization. We're in a passage, a tight passage. As a baby is born in a tight passage, our civilization is going through, especially the young generation, is going through this passage. So that's why masters and teachers come to the planet to give us tools. And music is the most extraordinary tool to influence the future generations and the younger generations. They just need to be put in contact with these tools.
That was very beautifully put, and I appreciate it. Natacha, please, I know you're eager to share with us.
Just what the
Thank you,
masters or instructors are doing, they are like midwives. So they have to bring us, to give birth, the most wonderful, the most beautiful, the most intelligent new civilization, new religion, new way of living. So, of course, music will show us and explain it in a wonderful way. We have just to dig a little bit more and then to understand. And as we mentioned, because it is a food, it was always given to the humanity. If you take religion, for example, liturgy, especially Orthodox liturgy, is the most wonderful concert, you know. It's so rich, and I think that we will listen to another song which comes from a Russian liturgy, S nami Bog, which means God is with us. It's a so inspiring and so nourishing music, but all religious music, they are beautiful. So we always received that part of our organic or very precious and good quality food, nourishment, and today we have to penetrate into it better, evaluate it, and to see, as Gilles mentioned, how it expresses, how that music in each, for example, decade, how it expresses the general reservoir of energies. Also the protest, the protest, what Gilles mentioned, is the protest of the parents that they cannot express. So their children will do it through that very, it's powerful.
Heavy.
Forceful.
Very heavy and powerful. It means that on a psyche of parents, there is something very heavy. So how to light it, how to bring light into it, and of course the young ones, they are not guilty. They just inherited this heaviness from the psychic level, and they will express it in the most different ways and the most extremist way, this pressure, inner pressure. And
You sound like you've been studying total biology. It's
Maybe.
actually the way of the psyche, maybe, right? Natacha, by the way, is who introduced me to total biology, on which, of course, we've done many shows over the course of years, and its relationship to psychology and understanding the mind and body is truly an exquisite, exemplary way of understanding. So I thank you for that, sure. You basically introduced the next piece, so why don't we move into that, and then we'll explore the meaning of that. By the way, what's beautiful about this is we are able to take religiously based music and recognize it from a spiritual point of view. It's not locked in or locked down to one or another religion, which is ultimately an institution with its own self-interest. Despite the goodness that has come of it, there's been also its opposite. But when we bring it into a spiritual path such as this, we have the freedom to enjoy it for what it is, without all of the set of values that go along with a particular religion. So I appreciate that. So on that note, if we could get the next piece going there, Jazzle. We're having a few technical challenges here, so we're not exactly sure what's what. We will go into that another time, but God, that's beautiful. Gilles, could you speak about that, what we just heard?
Well, the meaning itself of the song is God is with us. Snami Bok means God is with us. And it's a call for all countries and all nations to unite and to be linked and tied to the divine laws that created humanity itself and nature around us. So it's a compelling song, and the answer of the feminine principle, when you hear all the women singing, is the answer of humanity to the call. And we can say that the call itself comes from above and the answer comes from below. And there's this exchange between the different realms are a definite expression of the role of prayer or of meditation or of any type of communication with the higher self. What I would like to mention now is two different aspects of this music, which are very important, because there's a reason why we have harmony in music, and there's a reason why there is melody in music. And in an initiatic science, or in the science of the soul, we find out that the expression of the soul is done through the melody. And when we talk about harmony, we talk about unification of many souls. Many souls communicating and in communion will create harmony. And what's interesting is that music and sound, every sound is a combination of millions of sounds, starting from the basic sound to the highest harmonics. So nature has created sound already in a harmonic fashion. So when voices get together to create harmony, actually they're creating the sound, the oneness of sound. So that's why we feel so good when we sing with different part voices. We feel that we're sort of, in a way, brothers and sisters, doing things together in the right way, and we know exactly what we want to do. And there's no argument. We don't even have to talk. We just have to sing the right sound. And this particular art of singing in choir was given to us, and anybody can sing in a choir. Anybody can. Not everybody can play the piano. Not everybody can play the violin or the saxophone or the trumpet. You can learn, but you can be an excellent choral singer even though you haven't gone through school training and everything. And that's what makes vocal art in a choir such a magic experience. So I just wanted to convey that because I've been doing it for many years, and I find that it's a force that unites souls, spirits, but also different personalities that can blend magically in one form.
What I gather, it's interestingly a form of non-verbal communication, even though you're using verbs, and it could act also as a form of conflict resolution, also without speaking, but singing.
I would like to have all presidents and kings
Sing together.
singing in a choir once a year. We should
Beautiful.
propose that at the United Nations.
I
We
tell
would
you.
have a 192-part choir.
Exactly. We'll have to do that. What I'd like to ask you both is, as we begin to draw toward a close here, is a question that's just been interesting me for a long time, which is seeing as to spiritualize this planet and the species on it, which are so often, the human species, at war in one way or another, inside oneself as well as with each other, defined by nations or any number of different silly components. Can music itself, by listening or participating in movement, as in dance, which is another huge natural impulse when one hears music, one wants to engage one's body in some kind of movement, can that be enough to actually shift our consciousness in some kind of stable and sustainable way?
This is one of ways. One of ways because it is food, as we mentioned, it's nourishment, because it is connected to the cosmic laws, because each cell, each atom, each molecule, everything what exists has its own music, and the cosmic laws written it. But during the times and the history, we transgressed these laws. So what is today the most necessary is to re-establish the harmony between what we disturbed. And re-establish the harmony, it means to purify, to clean up, to wash. And each level has even its own word, you see. To wash, it's for the astral level. To clean, it's for the physical level. To purify is for the mental level. So it's not by chance that we have different words. But music is one of the elements, one of the tools, very powerful tool to kill the negative vibrations, to kill the dirty parts that we accumulated through the centuries, and we didn't clean it yet.
Sort of like a cosmic laundromat.
Yes. Yes, so music can annihilate.
Annihilate. But could we also use the word that might be a little friendlier, neutralize the negative effects?
Yes, but when you
I'm
just
voting for that word.
yes, you can neutralize, but
Yeah.
what it stays, you have to use it as a fertilizer somewhere,
Ah, just like nature.
just like nature. And the Mother Earth is a perfect example of that. So you can neutralize, but then how to use all this dust or dirt. So the music is the best purifier and the best harmonizer. And if we are a little bit musical inside, we cannot become sick. So it means that the inner harmony will be not disturbed. But because we forget the music, we forget that we are musical beings, so we permit it to that disharmony and be installed in us. So there is a healing music, and that we need as a first thing. But at the same time, parallelly, to heal something, we need purify it and clean it up. So these two elements are very necessary in the present time, because we are talking about pollution everywhere, externally, but we never examine how polluted we are in our thoughts, in our feelings, how the hatred is transmitted from one generation to another one. So all this we can eliminate by a real organic music.
Incredible. Let's start listening, folks. Last word, Gilles?
I just wanted to mention that one of the most important part of our evolution now is becoming, I think everybody hears this every day, becoming aware that we're part of a whole, but that we're still unique individuals in this whole. And there's a lot of fear in losing one's identity when we melt in this whole. And the most greatest fear of Westerners was, if we become communists, we lose our identity. And we look at China today and we feel that they're all doing the same thing and they're all speaking the same way and all that. This fear has been installed by politics and economics. But actually, when you're part of a whole, like propagandists, when you're part of a whole that is healthy, then you find your identity and you find out what real important part you are in this whole. So when we find a balance between these two extremes, I think that we will have passed the threshold to a new era.
Beautifully put. It's a new identity in the unified field,
Yes.
to speak quantum physics like.
And we have a unique voice and unique tone and unique vibration that we can never ever lose it, but we just don't know it. So we can imagine or meditate even today how whole humanity forms one choir. And we cannot lose the qualities, the possibilities, the potential that we have, even through our voice. So I will propose the meditation. We cannot unite today 7 billion of people. We can unite maybe 200 presidents or kings or prime ministers. But in reality, as in our body, billions of cells have to form one choir exactly for the planet, and the planets like that exist. They are like just singing. They are just emanating the harmony and beautify whole universe.
Oh, beautiful. Merci, spasiba, thank you.
Very welcome.
So beautiful to have the two of you on and sharing this information and this knowledge. And I hope it gets transmitted far and wide and to the leaders of nations, because if they could just sing in harmony, as you both said so well. So thanks again for both of your good work, and all of you can go and visit and learn more about the work of I.D.E.A.L at www.idealcreation.ca. And of course, visit us at our website, www.abetterworld.net. So thank you again, Gilles Hainault and Natacha Kolesar, for being our guest today.
Thank you very much.
So this is Mitchell J. Rabin. Thanks again for joining us here in the beautiful Canadian Rockies. Next time there's a hurricane in New York, come out here. I look forward to seeing you all next week.